Welcome to Interactive Wednesdays officially again. And in today's session, we'll be covering Proven Investment Limited, right? Ticker symbol Proven. So this is a stock that we have been looking at for some time now, and the hard-earned analysis was pretty much done by Business Intelligence Holdings, which is the shirt I'm wearing today. So the analysts, research analysts over there would have done quite a few hours to put this presentation together, right? So we're looking at one of the most undervalued stocks on the Jamaica Stock Exchange right now, the JSE, right? Recently, maybe like 2-3 days ago, it was the most undervalued stock, right? But it has somewhat fell since last 2 days, 3 days ago, right? But it is still in the top 3 undervalued. So that just goes to show you what I'm bringing to you today. Good. So of course, disclaimer: this session is strictly for educational purposes and should not be taken as investment advice. For investment advice, please speak to your wealth advisor or your financial advisor. I'm just your financial brethren, right? I'm just giving you the information for you to make further educated, right? And then you can go on and make your decision from there. But we're not telling you to buy this stock. We're not telling you to sell it. We're just bringing information to you. You can then go on to make your decision at the end of the day. All right, so let's jump in. So as I said before, we'll be discussing one of the most undervalued stocks on the stock exchange. So this is pretty much for investors that are looking for diversification and higher returns on their investment. So people want to tune in to the end. It's a lot of information that we're going through today. So today we'll be analyzing, as I said before, I can't say it anymore, Proven Investment Limited, one of the most undervalued and underrated companies on the Jamaica Stock Exchange, right? So it goes by the ticker symbol Proven. So this stock has a lot of potential for investment opportunities. And before we dive into the detail, I would like to remind you guys to like, share, and subscribe to the Financial Brethren channels, especially the YouTube channel, right? That's where we bring long format content on YouTube, right? So you want to go on and check out the social media of Financial Brethren: Instagram, TikTok. IG go over by TikTok, TikTok go over by IG, and you guys can meet up all in the middle at YouTube and subscribe to YouTube. Hit the notification bell if you want to be notified of all the most recent happenings, right, and the long format content. So first we'll be going through the company overview. Guys, you have to download the document to understand what I'm saying. So company overview, that's where we're going to start, right? So Proven Investment Limited is a dynamic investment firm that's headquartered in Kingston, Jamaica. It can be found on 53 Lady Musgrave Road, right? The company was founded in November 25th, 2019 by Peter Bunting, yes, the politician Peter Bunting, Juan Heaven, and also Garfield Sinclair. So those are the 3 founders of Proven. Now the company specializes in holding tradable securities or assets for investment purposes. Good. Now, the company focuses on building a diversified portfolio of regional, meaning Caribbean, and international investments. Now, Proven Group, right, is a group of companies, a group of smaller subsidiaries, right? It operates primarily four business pillars or 4 revenue segments, and I'll go through each of the segments. Cool. Now, firstly, there's Proven Wealth, right? Now, Proven Wealth provides like first-class wealth management solutions and services. They manage billions of Jamaican dollars, billions of US Jamaican dollars, and of investments on behalf of individuals, regular people like you and me, yes, regular people like you and me, and also corporate clients across the region and internationally. So that's the first subsidiary, right? Now, there's also Proven Bank. That's own banks. Now, where they provide banking services, right? So they offer a full suite of banking products and other services to clients in like Cayman Islands and internationally. They also offer like offshore banking. So if you watch a lot of movies, money laundering, right? Offshore banking is usually associated with those things. Not the case with Proven, right? Legitimate business and everything. But that come to mind when you say offshore banking, right? So they offer offshore banking services to high net worth clients, and also the third subsidiary is Proven Properties. Now, Proven Properties deals with real estate investment. If you guys know me, I'm big on real estate, right? So they manage a portfolio of real estate investment that spans both regional and commercial development, right? So commercial development and residential development, I correct myself. And there's also Proven Capital. Now, Proven Capital, Proven Private Capital now is the arm that deals with private equity and debt transactions, right, across various sectors. You can name them, and industries. All right, so that's pretty much the four subsidiaries of Proven. You have wealth, you have bank, you have properties, and you have Proven Capital, private capital. Now, from an industry overview perspective, as I said before, if you think about the top three investment firms in Jamaica, Proven usually doesn't come to everybody's mind, right? But as I said before, it's an underrated company and it's currently undervalued, especially going into Christmas, right? So read between the lines from now. So Proven is a strong player in the Jamaican investment market. It offers, as I said before, a diversified set of solutions and services. Now, the company has a solid track record and it has a very reputable brand, right? It's an underrated company, as I said before. Now, the key competitors, when you talk about Proven, key competitors for Proven is NCB Capital Markets, right? We can throw that out there. Grace Kennedy Financial Group, right? There's also Scotia Bank, right? There's also Sagico Investment, and there's also Cygnus Capital. So these are some of the top competitors to Proven, right? So I'm just giving you the kind of landscape that Proven operates within. Good. Now, in terms of management team, you want to look at the management team when you're looking at investing in a company. You want to know who are the key players who are making the decisions, who are the persons operating the company on a day-to-day basis. So I'm going to give you the top guys. We're not going below the board. We're going below the board now to the executive management, not the everyday staff, right? I'm just telling you who are making the decisions of the company. So one of the key factors behind Proven success is the exceptional management team that the company has. Now, first, as I said, going back to the founders of the company, right, is Peter Bunting, the politician. Now, he's one of the co-founder and former Minister of National Security and the co-founder of Darren Bunting and Golden from back in the days. Yeah, man, him same one, right? So it was one of Jamaica's first private investment bank, bringing a wealth of strategic leadership, right? Which would have led to the formation of Proven. Now, secondly, on the board is Mark Golden, yes, the opposition leader of the Jamaica political party, right, PNP. Now, and also co-founder of Darren Bunting and Golden. So these guys formed, Darren Bunting and Golden also formed Proven, right? So you can kind of see the track record that they're building up right away. And thirdly is Garfield Sinclair. Garfield now is the chairman of Proven Bank, with leadership roles in cable and wireless, right, and other Proven Group entities, right, such as Proven Wealth. So those are the three top guys in terms of founders, right, persons who would have established the company. Good. TikTok, remember, you have to get the link over by Instagram in the bio for this presentation. We're analyzing Proven Investment Limited. Now, the big man himself, Christopher Williams, right, is the CEO of the company, Proven Investment Limited. He oversees the daily operations of the company and the growth of the billion-dollar portfolio which I manage. Now, previous to being at Proven as the CEO, Christopher Williams was actually the head of NCB Capital Markets again, right? And also an executive on the Darren Bunting and Golden company I mentioned earlier. He's also an outgoing CEO, right? So by January he'll be resigning, right? So he's literally wrapping up his last few days now, right, before turning over the reins. You can check the news on that information. Now, below Christopher, you can find the group corporate secretary, Sherry Murray, right? She pretty much ensures the operational excellence and the corporate governance of the company and all these things, right? It's a big thing in Jamaica and any well-functioning company internationally. Corporate governance is a big deal, right? So Sherry is the one that oversees and manages that. Then lastly, on the executive team is Makiba Bennett Easy. She's the Chief People and Cultural Officer. She brings a strong wealth of human resource skill sets, expertise, and also organizational development. And most of her roles were formerly HR roles, right? From what we picked up. Now for the meat, right? Why we're all gathered here today is the financials, right? I won't go through every single number on the financials, but what I'll go through are the key contributors, are the key factors of why the company is even undervalued today, right? So we're going through the financials. So now we discuss the financials starting with the balance sheet, and then we'll go into the income statement and the cash flow. Well, I said before, it's a lot of information to cover, not a lot of time, but I'll bring to you just the key information, right? So their year-end, Proven's year-end is actually March 31st. So these numbers are from their March 31st audited financial statements, which is presented in USD. Cool? Now for the balance sheet, we're talking about assets. You guys know about assets, you guys know about liabilities, shareholders, equity. So we're starting with the assets of the company. So the total assets, the grand total assets of the company grew by 7.4% this year, 2024, compared to last year figure, right? So the 2023 figure was a little over 1 billion, right? Now, this year's figure is 1.1 billion, which would have led to them growing by 7.4%. Now, the key contributors why the total assets is what it is this year compared to last year is from a few things, right? The first one is the first contributor being investment securities, because remember I mentioned that they actually invest in securities or assets. So their investment securities rose by 6.4%, right? This year compared to last year. Last year it was around 378 million. Now this year is around 403 million, right? Now, second contributor to the asset, the total asset, right, is the cash and cash equivalent, meaning the money of the company, are even close to the money of the company. So if it's not raw cash, it's something that can be easily converted to raw cash. That's what we call cash and cash equivalent. Good? Now, the cash and cash equivalent would have been the second contributor to the total asset, why the total assets grew by so much this year compared to last year, right? And thirdly on the list is the investment property. Remember I said that they have a real estate arm that invests in residential and also commercial real estate. So that would have contributed to the total assets growing. So these are the top three: investment securities, the cash and cash equivalent, and also the investment property. Good. Going on to total liabilities, meaning the obligations that the company have to pay out, right? So that's pretty much how they operate. They collect or house the funds or the investments of the everyday retail people or the corporate persons, and they invest in commercial projects, residential projects, they invest in securities, right? So they have some amount of debt or obligations attached to these assets. So that's what we're going through right now. So the total assets of total liabilities, of the companies grew by 6.8%, right? This year. Now, last year figure was actually 914 million. Now this year it is actually 976 million, and this is primarily due to a rise in their repurchase agreement. Repurchase agreement is another asset class, right? It's short for repo. These are like short-term investments, anywhere from 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, and maybe as far as 180 days, 182 days, right? So these are short-term investments. So this is one of the primary drivers to the total liabilities moving up now. Now, other contributors being notes payable, right? Meaning some short-term notes or papers that they would have issued through the year. And as before, repos, right? So that's pretty much the contributing factors to their total liabilities growing. So I'll go more in detail as the conversation prolongs. In terms of income statement now, going on to the income statement. So I would have finished with the balance sheet, moving to the income statement, right? The net operating revenue, the top line, the revenue for the companies now, right? The sale, quote unquote sales, right? I'm trying to see how best we can bridge the gap between persons who know these terms, between persons who are coming into knowledge of these terms for the first time. So the sales of the companies are the revenues of the company. We net them off. We're talking about the net operating revenue now. That would have grown by 10% this year compared to last year. So last year it was around 50 million. Now this year is around 55 million. Good. Now the bottom line, the net profit of the company actually had a loss last year, which is why I'm saying, it's a company you can't sleep on, because they had a wicked loss last year, and this year they have a major turnaround, wipe out the loss totally. So last year they had a loss of 12.69 million, and this year the man totally wipe out that, and they would have actually made a profit exceeding that loss last year. They wipe out that and actually make more upon that loss this year compared to last year. So this year's profit is actually 13.63 million this year, right? And as I said before, I'm going to give you the drivers. I'm not going to go into all the details, but what would have led to this turnaround, massive turnaround in profit, is what they call share of profit from associate, like associated companies, affiliated companies of Proven, right? So that would have surged to 15.64 million this year compared to last year. So they had a lot of affiliate transactions that contributed significantly to the net profit turnaround. And also they had a lot of reduction, because a lot of people don't know this. This is the second contributor. They had a lot of reduction in operating expenses. So they would have seen maybe where they could spend less. So we're discussing Proven Investment Limited. You can go in my bio to check the link, right? And you can download a PowerPoint presentation. So rather than seeing how best they can make a significant chunk of sales, the man just look at the company and look where they can cut expenses. That's how we are making money too, right? Just cut your expenses. So those are the two contributors to the net profit of Proven, right? One being the profits from affiliate companies or associated companies. They did a lot of transactions with those companies, or those companies yielded a lot of profit, right? Which contributed up to the group. Now, the other contributor, as I said before, is reducing the operating expenses. That's a way you can make money, to just cut back on expenses, just like our everyday bills and so on, just like dining out and buying clothes, stuff like that. You can just cut back on that, and you can see a profit, you can see more savings. Right? It's the same thing when it comes on to companies, like cut back. Now, the earnings per share of the company, meaning what? Meaning, so last year, they actually, as I said, they had a loss last year, so their earnings per share was negative. Negative so much that it was negative 0.02, right, dollars. No, they recovered from that position last year and actually made a profit, right, as I said before. So their earnings per share is the same value except positive. So their earnings per share is positive $0.02, right? Now, net profit margin of the company is around 25%, right? So they actually demonstrated a significant uptick in generating the profits, right? And the 25%. Good. So persons who are analyzing Proven Investment Limited, you have to go in the bio to get the PowerPoint presentation. There's a actual visualization of what I'm talking about. So I'm just explaining it more in detail, right? So persons on TikTok, go on my Instagram, you can get the PowerPoint presentation. It's free of cost. I don't charge for these things, right? Lastly, we're going to the cash flow. Cash flow is another statement. Last statement we're going through today. Now, cash flow, in terms of operating activities of the company, I can't go through all the single details, but the net cash flow from operating activities actually saw a major turnaround this year compared to last year, right? So the improvement in the cash flow, particularly the operating activities, were driven by like significant positive adjustments in like loan receivables. They had a lot of receivables last year, and also liabilities, right? So those were some major turnarounds that contributed to why the cash flow this year is more positive than last year. Now they actually control operating expenses, as I said before, right? So that would have actually contributed to an uptick in the operating activities of the company, right? Now, in terms of investment activities, that would have rose by 76% this year compared to last year. So last year it was 6.95 million. This year it's around 12 million, right? And this would have been driven by like investment properties that I said before, right? Lastly, the financing activities, which is the third component of the cash flow statement. So financing activities provides really a stable inflow. That's what our analysis showed. And this is primarily due to like additional notes that they would have issued and things like that, right? So all in all, the net cash flow and liquidity of the company significantly improved this year compared to last year. So total cash flow rebounded to around 10 million, right? And that's a surplus now, reversing all of last year's loss. They had a significant loss last year. So we're not going too much into detail, right? So I'm seeing how best we can move through the financials with all of the numbers. The numbers are there in the PowerPoint presentation. So I'm just kind of glossing over them and then moving towards the valuation, which is the real meat of why we're here. So just bear with me a little bit. I talk fast, but see how best you can follow the presentation and go through, right? Now, financial health of the company is very important. I could have actually skipped through all the cash flow statement, the balance sheet, the income statement, and just give you the financial health of the company. But I needed some kind of backdrop so you can understand and appreciate where this company is coming from and why it is significantly underweighted right now. I won't say, I will not tell you that it's a buy. I can't say the word buy. I can't say the word sell. It's significantly underweighted. If you know if someone underweight, you know what to do, right? I'm not telling you what to do. You decide what you want to do. So we have a proprietary scoring system here at Business Intelligence, which is pretty much what powers the analysis of financial bridging, right? So you can stay over there. We are the overthink over Business Intelligence, right? So we have a proprietary scoring system. Now, this scoring system is used to evaluate like the financial statements of proven all the numbers, all the components that we spoke about earlier. And what it does is really to assign like a scoring on a scale of 1 to 5, right? Pretty much 1 indicates like weak performance. Yeah, man, you about weak jellyback, weak performance. So if we go through a contributor of the financial statement and it comes out at a 1, just know say it's very weak. It can't even mention, right? But however, if it's on the high end of 5, it's a good contributor. It's excellent performance, right? So the system really enables you guys, the audience and stakeholders to really assess the company's strengths and weaknesses in certain key or critical areas, right? So let me go through now and tell you what I'm referring to exactly. So, as I said before, 1 is a poor performance, 2 is fear, All right, can kind of work with 3 is good. This is the sweet spot. It can be a 3, right? 4, strong performance. When you get to 5 now, it's excellent performance, right? And then overall, we'll just aggregate all of that. So let me go to proven's number now that I give you the background of how the proprietary scoring system works. Now, in terms of growth health of the company for proven, that's 2, right? Now, the growth health of the company speaks to like its ability to grow earnings, free cash flow, and to grow profit over time, right? So it highlights trends in profitability and long-term value creation for the company. So where we are, we put that at around 2 for the company. So some strengths in it are somewhere around the exceptional growth that they would have had from last year to this year in terms of their earnings per share. If they can get by them earnings per share from a negative 0.02 to now this year a positive 0.02, we put them at around 2, right? So them all right, them good, them can work with. The same is true for their gross profit. Last year it was a loss, this year it's positive, right? Around 13 million, as I said before. Now, the cash flow health of the company, we put that around 2 again, right? Cash flow health of the company, we put that at around 2. Now, the cash flow health of the company assesses like the company's liquidity, meaning the money, how fast and can get out some money and churn some money in case they need to pay out these things, right? How fast and can find some money, right? So this assesses the company's liquidity and its ability to generate like operational cash flow and also to cover its expenses, keep the lights on, keep the investments churning, and to pay out liabilities like interest and these things to their investors. So we put that around 2 for the companies for proven. Now, in terms of the profitability health of the company, we give that around 2 again after going through the company's financials, right? So the strengths mainly where we gave it around 2 is the EBITDA margin. EBITDA margin around 20 or 21%. We also gave it the gross profit margin of the company is around 61%. So that's one of the contributors why we give it 2. The weaknesses though are the cash returns on investment capital. Those are that's negative, like a negative 38%. Right? I won't go into what makes it up, the ratio, right? We're not in a lecture, so I won't go into what makes it up, how you divide it and these things, right? Now, the fixed asset turnover is another weakness of the company. That's around 1.69 times, right? So it indicates efficiency there and an opportunity for the company to turn around, right? Turn around the fixed asset. Good. Now, relative value, we give around 3. So here's where them just start earn 3, which is good. Before it was not so good, right? But still not poor. Now, the relative value of the company compares the company's valuation metrics, which we'll go through right after this. Yeah, right after this. Now, we put that around 3. Some of the strengths that we found were like the earnings yield of the company, that's around 10.34%. Some of the weaknesses were like their enterprise value compared to their EBITDA, right? Those ratios weren't so good. That's the reason why it kind of deducted from, maybe giving them a 4, right? So relative value, we gave them 3, right? Now, price momentum, this speaks to like the company's, this really tracks the company's recent stock price performance and how it trends throughout the period and stuff like that. So we found it very weak in terms of the price trend of the company. So we gave it 1, honestly, just because 0 is not on the scale. We start the scale from 1, so we gave it 1, right? Overall though, when you average out everything that we went through, the price momentum, relative value of the company, the profitability of the company, they come out at around, honestly, they come out at around 2 out of 5, which is a fair performance, right? So I would have probably just given you this score instead of going through the whole financials, but it's still good information, right? But overall score is around 2 out of 5. But let me tell you how this company bounced back, right? We're going to talk a little bit about the risk of the company and investing in the company just before we get to the valuation, because I think it's very important that we talk about the risk of the company before we invest and put money on the table, right? Now, the Proven's performance is influenced by several factors, including like the market. Proven operates in the Jamaican market, and it has competitors, right? It's not found in the universe where they can make up their own rules, right? So, as such, they are influenced by market conditions and other risk factors. So one of the key ones being market risk, right? That's one of the key risks for the company. So the performance improvement is influenced by like broader market conditions, including like downturns in the economy, inflation, interest rate changes, and certain global political risks affect the company. So market condition plays a big role. Now, one of the other risks is real estate. As I said before, they have a subsidiary that invests in commercial and residential properties, and with that comes real estate risk. Zin? Now, a significant portion of their assets is tied to real estate. That's some form of concentration risk right there. Some form of revenue risk, right? So just tie it up, bundle it up, and call it real estate risk. Cool? So if there's any downturn in the real estate market, just know say that subsidiary will not be performing very well, right? So a significant portion of their assets is tied up in real estate. So that's another risk associated with the company. Then the third one is liquidity risk, meaning how fast they can get money to pay their obligations and to cover expenses and stuff like that, right? So that's another one that we highlighted. So cash and cash equivalent increased by 8.4% this year to around 157 million, right? So they have money, right? And this is good. But compared to last year, not so much, right? And when you look at the debt that the company has, which I'll cover shortly, the company has a significant amount of debt. So when you look at the ratio of the cash and the debt that they have just enough to pay out all their debts and have a little bit left, right? So the ratio of their cash versus debt is 1.08. So if they clear all the debt, they have just a little bit to keep the lights on and to keep operations. So I never liked that. We didn't like that, right? So that's another risk, liquidity risk. Now, debt risk, as I said before, they have just enough to cover their debts. Now, a significant debt they have. So we have to make mention of the debt risk, right? So a debt ratio of around 2 to 1 in terms of cash to debt would have been more comfortable with me and industry standards. We say, all right, if you pay out a debt, do you still have enough where you can keep business operations going? They have just enough, right? So that's the debt risk. Now, earnings volatility is another risk. So Proven's earnings has fluctuated. As I said before, earnings per share last year was negative, this year positive. Next year, we don't know if it's going negative or positive. You need to have stable earnings, right? So get it together. Cool? So that's another risk that I would have identified. Now, in terms of growth risk, and this is just us being very comprehensive, this is us being very thorough. Never have to mention this, but we're just giving it information as it is, right? As we see this icing on the cake now. Now is growth risk from over expansion. Proven has made significant investment in like property development, right? And that would have increased by 46%, 45.8 in terms of investment property. A very significant or notable growth in property development, right? There are properties, Ochi, all these places in Kingston. So it's something to mention. You get me? So it also exposes the company to like project delays. If you know anything about construction, if you know anything about commercial lending, especially real estate, they look at project delays because inevitably that is something you have to consider when you're having a lot of projects managing, right? Especially in commercial and residential property development, right? So if anything happens and these projects are not completed on time, that will tie back into the expansion or growth of the company, because as I said before, a significant portion of their assets are tied up in property, right? So that's something to consider. Now, wake up. We're at the valuation. This is my favorite part of the show, right? The valuation of the company is what we're going to talk about now. So we use three valuation metrics, right? Three valuation metrics, being the price to earnings, being also the price to book, and being also the price to sales, right? So we took three different valuation methodologies, and when we finish with them, we average that and we say, all right, this is the true value of the company. Now, so having done that, it suggests that the company is grossly undervalued or underweighted, right? So now we're going to each of the valuation metrics. First one is the price to earnings. Remember the earnings I gave you earlier. Now the price of the company divided by that same earnings, you end up with somewhere around 23.62. Now, in terms of the price to book, take the book value of the company, you have the price, you divide the price by the book value, it come out around 25.19 or $25.19, right? Right, so that's the second valuation metrics. Now, the price to sales of the company, right? Take the company's revenues divided by price divided by that, give you 26.77%. Now, when you average out all of those three metrics, will come out at around $25.19. $25.19 is the average price of this company. Now, if you invest in this company as at today's price, right, based on the closing price on the Jamaica Stock Exchange, the company closed at around $18.67. So that's telling you that if you buy this company at $18.67, the company really worth $25.19. So that gives you an automatic upside of 34.9%, 35% if you round it up. You get me? So that's really value for your portfolio. That's also diversification for your portfolio, right? So as such, I can't use the word recommend. I can only tell you that this company is significantly undervalued or underweighted. You get me? I can't use those words over here. I'm not a financial advisor, a wealth advisor. I'm just a financial virgin who would have done the research for years in. So it's something to look into, right? For persons who are looking to invest and diversify their earnings. As I said before, Proven has a lot of subsidiaries, so it gives you exposure to bank, right? Offshore banking. It gives you exposure to real estate, commercial real estate. It also gives you exposure to like private equity, right? Private capital, and it also gives you exposure to what else? Somebody tell me. Can't tell me. Alright, fine. Alright, so guys, that was Proven Investment Limited. Thank you for staying with me so long. I know it's a lot of information to go through, but for persons just joining, we went through Proven Investment Limited from top to all the way down to the valuation of the company. The company is significantly undervalued. I'm not pushing this stock. Let me be very clear. I'm not getting any money to push the stock or anything. I'm not pushing the stock either. I'm just saying it's something to look into. Right? Often you don't find companies are undervalued on the stock exchange. As I said before, last 2 to 3 days, this company was the most undervalued stock on the stock market. It was about 45% undervalued 3 days ago, right? But because price changes and stuff like that, which are now components of valuation, That's the reason why it has now moved from 45% undervalued to around 35% undervalued. But it's still good. It's still a good investment, as I said before, right? But you can let me know. So that was Proven Investment Limited. If there's any other stock that you guys want us to analyze at Financial Bridging, you can let us know in the comment, and we can get it done in the next couple of sessions, right?